Welcome back to Monday Night Talk. We now return to Kevin Tocci and Monday Night Talk.
Well, joining us right now is our first guest. She is a candidate for state representative in the 7th Plymouth District, which is Abington, East Bridgewater, and Whitman. We have on the line Alyson Sullivan joining us. Alyson, welcome to Monday Night Talk.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for calling in and being a part of the program. For folks who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm from Abington. I'm a lifelong resident. Lived my whole life in the district. By the district, I mean the 7th Plymouth District, the district that I'm running to represent. Mm-hmm. I went to Abington Public Schools. I graduated from Cardinal Spellman High School, and I went on to graduate from Suffolk University. And then now I'm in my 4th and final year of law school at New England School of Law. That's a little bit about my educational background and my professional background. My public service kind of started when I was a junior and senior in high school. I worked part-time during the summer on the DARE camp with the Plymouth County DA's office, which was an amazing time in doing that, an amazing experience, and it was something that I loved doing. And then I went on to, after graduating from Suffolk University, I got a job at the United States Immigration Court. I worked there for about 2 years, and I went on to the U.S. Attorney's Office in downtown Boston in the Victim Witness Unit. I now currently serve in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the Administration and Finance and the Legal Department.
You sound like a busy gal. What would make you want to run for state representative? What's the appeal in running for office?
I'm a very, very busy girl. I'm out here meeting the voters, but, I've always saw myself as giving back to my community, and I have a passion for public service. I believe in the 7th Plymouth District. It's where I call home. I've called it home my whole life, and I believe that the people of the 7th Plymouth District deserve a state rep who's going to listen to them, who's going to advocate for them, and who's going to work hard. And just by my job descriptions and my education, you can tell that I'm a very hard worker. I'm very dedicated, and there's a lot of issues facing the 7th Plymouth District that I think I can be the new voice, continuing the traditions that we have. From walking around and meeting the voters, one of the biggest issues in the 7th Plymouth is the opioid crisis. Another one is taxes. I've met senior citizens who have been a member of my community their whole lives. They've raised families there, and they're being pushed out because of the taxes. So I'm going to advocate on their behalf to ensure that they have, a home that they can stay in and afford, because, they're on fixed incomes and what have you. And I also, our government, it definitely doesn't have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. And I've been witnessing that by going door knocking and meeting the voters and the people of the 7th Plymouth District. So if I'm elected, I'm going to be an honest politician and have the ability to have people come and speak to me.
What are some of the other district priorities? I think you ticked off a couple of them in regards to taxes, in regards to tackling the opioid crisis. What are some of the other priorities that you feel the district has and that people have been bending your ear saying, listen, this is what I feel is a problem?
So, obviously Abington, Whitman, East Bridgewater, they have kind of their own issues going on within their own towns.
Yep.
I was in East Bridgewater the other day, and I got to meet a few folks there, and they voiced their concern about a certain intersection in town and how big of a safety issue it is. And they feel that, they're having a struggle with the local politics to the state politics to figure out who actually controls that intersection. So I know that's a big issue for East Bridgewater. I think across the 3 towns, locally it's a huge issue. And school aid. We need to make sure that our students are getting the best possible education and, the education that they deserve. So I think those kind of are broad across the three different towns within the district.
I know one thing, I think you might have mentioned local aid. The town of Whitman. They've begun having discussions. They're just a couple of months off from having town meeting, and they're already looking at the FY20 budget. It's kind of a big deal, and they're right now up against the levy limit. What do you do as an advocate up at the State House to try to be able to get more money, bring more bacon home back to the district? How do you do that as a freshman?
So, I obviously don't have all the answers there, but what I do know that how I am is I'm a strong advocate for what I believe in and people I care about. So I'll go up there and I'll advocate for Whitman and to say that my town in my district is hurting, and they need this in order to survive and fight for as much local aid as they can get and the aid and the funding that they deserve.
What has it been like to be able to, go out and be able to embrace and meet people and kind of get an idea as to the differences between the district? What is that like for somebody who is so busy that you are taking time to be able to meet constituents, potential constituents?
Honestly, Kevin, it's great. I meet people that, may not agree with me 110%, but they're willing to listen, and I'm willing to listen to them, because at the end of the day, my voice is their voice. And meeting the people that, seeing friendly faces, and then meeting new people, it's been an experience. I love it. Most people think I'm a little different there, because I actually love door knocking. You knock on a door, you never know if someone's going to answer or not. But when they do, it's been a pleasure. I'm a very approachable person. And the people I've met, they've been so excited about my campaign and what I'm willing to do.
And knowing that coming up in just a few short weeks, you got the primary ahead of you on September 4th. What are you doing differently for September 4th, to get ready for that? Because, again, you're trying to get your party's nomination to be the one who's on the ballot on November 6th. How are you going about that?
Well, as far as the debate goes, I'd be willing to debate my opponent, my Republican opponent. That's something that I would not shy away from. But as far as meeting the voters and the people within the 7 Plymouth District, I asked for their vote both in September and in November, with the hopes of gaining their vote and their support and their trust in September, and then getting it again in November. I'm not counting out September. I'm working hard. I'm knocking on every door. I'm meeting every voter I possibly can. I'm going to events. I'm shaking hands. It's all about having that interaction with people that care about the community just as much as I do. So I'm showing them that, like you said, I'm very busy. I'm taking the train home, and I'm hitting the doors as soon as I get home until 8 o'clock at night, because, I don't want to bother anyone when the street lights come on,
So I would ask you this, being a Republican, it's tough these days, depending on what kind of a Republican you are. We just had 2 Republicans in running for another district, the 12th Plymouth District. One of the questions we asked them, what is it like knowing that, are you a Trump Republican, or are you a Charlie Baker Republican? Do you find yourself people asking and questioning you as a member of a party, or is it just they're more worried about meeting you and saying, this is what I'd like you to do if you're successful in November?
No one's actually labeled me or asked me to label myself. I'm Alyson Sullivan. I am a Republican. I was born and raised in a Republican family. But I think a lot of people, what I'm getting are voting the person and not the party. I'm meeting people that are independents, unenrolled, that vote for the person that's in front of them, the person that they can trust, that is going to go to Beacon Hill and advocate for their best interest and for the community's best interest. At the end of the day, if I get elected, I'm advocating on behalf of the whole entire community, not just the Republicans.
Anything I haven't asked you during our few minutes together here, but you'd like to make sure you get out to the listeners here at 95.9 WATD?
I would ask all the listeners, for their vote in September and their vote again in November if elected in September. I'm out here. I'd be more than happy to see anyone and meet anyone and speak to anyone. On my website is an email address. Feel free to email me. I can give you my website. It's Alyson Sullivan for State Rep. And it's FOR for. And, I encourage people to send their questions, their concerns. I'm an active listener, and I plan on listening to the people within the 7th Plymouth District.
And if you don't mind, I'll give out do you want me to give out your email address?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alyson, Alyson, Sullivan, the number 4 at gmail.com.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you get back out on the campaign trail. Thank you for stopping for a couple of moments and chatting with us. And we'll probably look forward to hearing from you once again here on 95.9 WATD in the near future.
Yes, thank you so much.
Alyson, have yourself a great evening.
You too, thank you.
You got it. There she is. Alyson Sullivan. She is a candidate for state representative in the 7th Plymouth District.